I'm here with Andre with Zeg. Introduce yourself and your company.
Well, my name is Tchernobilsky. I was born and raised in Brazil. I used to work for automotive company for around 20 years, and I resigned my position as innovation global project manager located in Europe to found ZEG. ZEG stands for Zero Emissions Generation. It's a renewable energy startup, and our main focus is on waste management and waste to energy projects. Brazil right now is under a kind of a waste crisis. Half of the waste in Brazil does not have any proper disposal, nor even a landfilling process. And if you consider that Brazil has around 80 million tons of waste per year, half of it is going anywhere on the land. We are just expecting Mother Nature to take care of the waste, and that causes a lot of diseases, plagues, proliferation, climate change. One of the major contributors for greenhouse gases emissions around the globe, it's from the waste stream and waste processing and waste landfilling. The biogas from waste is 80 times more aggressive than CO2, for example. So waste, mostly in underdeveloped countries, they are contributing a kind of a humanitarian crisis. So I think waste should be anywhere in the globe as one of the top issue to be addressed. In Brazil, we can expect every year around 50,000 deaths, mostly children under 5 years old. As we are not properly addressing the waste problem in Brazil, we are pretty much killing children under 5 years old.
And how is your solution addressing that?
Brazil has 5,600 municipalities. 96% of those municipalities have less than 100,000 inhabitants and would require very small-scaled solution. When we try to find around the developed world, North America, Europe, we couldn't find any small-scale solution that was affordable, even technically speaking, because it's very few tons per day of waste to be processed. So we decided to develop our own technology. Our own technology is based on a pyrolysis system. Pyrolysis stands for, in Greek, heat without air. So we warm up the core of the reactor above the carbon boundary limit. In this way, we are able to volatilize any volatile matter. But the issue with the pyrolysis in a small-scaled project is that we generate oil. And in a small-scaled project, if we need to implement a refining process for that oil, it's not good economically wise in a small-scale project. So instead of generating the oil, we operate in a very high temperature above the carbon boundary limit, which means that any volatile matter will forcibly be volatilized. And instead of condensing the vapor of hydrocarbons back to liquids, we just inject instantly this vapor of hydrocarbons with a synthetic gas. We inject it directly into a combustion chamber. We generate heat, and this heat can be recovered inside a steam boiler with a steam turbine, small scaled as well. And we are able to generate energy by just resolving the waste problem in Brazil.
And does that turn into electricity that's saved in a battery?
It's a good question. Energy is energy, right? Once you have the heat source, you can convert that into power, into electricity. You can convert that into steam to send to industries that need steam for their processes. Or if you put a chiller, you can generate refrigeration.
How did you get into this?
I almost got an intervention from my family when I told them that I was resigning my Luxembourgish job to become a waste management guy. On the news, everything that you could see was children living and eating garbage, living on garbage and eating garbage. The poor families, they used to live on those open dump sites without any kind of regulation, law enforcement, or whatever. That was one of the good things that the law brought. They closed the access of the families inside those open dump sites. But I think by watching that on the news, that really got me, and I decided that I would resign and I would start entrepreneuring into this field. In my mind, I thought that I will solve the waste problem in Brazil. And because we had to design those small solutions, that's affordable, so we can implement that in other communities. And because of the technology is inside a conventional container, totally flexible, modular, you can plug and play wherever you want.
So how does this compare to what technologies are out there already? Like, why is this a better solution?
There are several technologies very similar to this one. Basically 4 types of solutions. One is biological. You apply bacteria inside a reactor to digest those organic matters and generate methane, basically. And you have 3 types of thermal treatment solutions. One is pure incineration. You put the garbage inside of a mass burning incinerator, and the heat will recover the energy, right, from the waste. You have gasification, which is a kind of incomplete combustion of the waste, but it's more tricky to operate because you need to inject the exact amount of air inside a reactor in order to not burn the waste, but just dissociate or oxy-reduce the waste. Operational-wise, it's not so good when you have heterogeneous waste stream. And you have pyrolysis system. The issue of the pyrolysis system is that you will always have oil out of the pyrolysis system. And for a small-scale project, you cannot afford to have a kind of refinery of this oil after every small reactor that we will be implementing all over, hopefully, the globe. So instead of pursuing the oil generation, we keep all the system above the condensation point of this oil, and we burn it instantly inside a combustion chamber. And because of the pyrolysis does not allow air entrance, you do not have oxygen enough to generate those toxic gases, dioxins, furanes, nitric oxides, because you do not have enough oxygen and neither nitrogen, right, inside the reactor. So in terms of emissions, the best solution is pyrolysis. And in order to be economically and technically efficient, the vapor of the hydrocarbon, we keep it in a vapor form. We mix with the syngas, the synthetic gas that we will generate always in any kind of solution. And we generate energy out of that instantly. So we call it a flash box or flash dissociation system.
And where is this technology at in the process? Is it just on a napkin sketch? Is it fully implemented? Where on that continuum?
We followed the NASA technology readiness level methodology. From 1 to 8, basically, you need to prove the prototype phase and the pilot phase. And the level 9, you have an industrial facility, and you need to operate that facility in a common operational mode. So we surpassed all this validation. We completed the full validation from 1 to 9. We passed the prototype phases alpha, beta, and gamma. We passed the pilot phases, alpha, beta, and gamma. The pilot gamma reactor worked over 8,000 hours in operational mode. Then we built a industrial plant. We call it an industrial eco park. Eco park is basically a waste recovery facility where you can have, in the beginning, a sorting plant. So you recover the recyclables with high value in the market. Everything else goes to the reactor, and the reactor converts everything into energy. So we ran this industrial plant for over 8,000 hours in a landfill by the Brazilian environmental organ, followed by a group of laboratories, European laboratory called Eurofins. So we have the technical evaluation from the European laboratory, from the Brazilian environmental government. And so we have all the reports of the emissions. We passed the emissions even without the need of cleaning the gas. So the gas, it goes out of the boiler, we do not need to treat because we do not have toxic gases generation because of what I have explained already. So we are fully validated, we are pre-operational, and we are right now in a phase of fundraising, and our business model is to acquire the small landfills and convert them into eco parks, very efficient and modern eco parks of waste recovery. And the good thing about this strategy of acquiring the small landfills is that those small landfills, they are fully operational already. They have positive EBITDA. So we can even securitize investors through the recurrent receivables of the current operation from the landfills. So that's how we figured how to give to the investors, let's say, the least risk, because we are pre-operational, even if we are fully validated, but we can guarantee the investment against the receivables securitization.
What's the biggest hurdle you're facing right now?
We are in the last phase of innovation, which is the financing structure. That's the hurdle that we've been facing for the last 8 years.
When you do talk to investors, what are the things that they're hung up about or concerned with? Like, why haven't they already jumped on and are throwing money at you yet?
I think Brazil is a very strange region for investing in innovation. The interest rates in Brazil are very high. The investors are very risk averse. So they just put the money in the banks and they have 12-15% of interest per year. And the investors abroad, they are afraid of Brazil sometimes.
How would you describe an ideal investor for you?
I think the best one for sure would be some strategic investor with a global penetration. We are going after some family offices as well and impact funds for sure. I think the best structure would be with impact funds. Here in Brazil, we do not have access to those kind of investors. I haven't found, at least. And we are trying to talk to some impact funds out of Brazil. Frankly speaking, one of those we are engaged. Let's say we even passed the due diligence, and I think we are just waiting the process to come through.
What's the best place for them to find you online?
LinkedIn, André Tchernobilsky, and we have as well a website, ZAG Ambiental, which ambiental in Portuguese means environmental, com.br. I'm happy to meet you and to be here with you, and let's solve the waste problem in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.